Podcast, True Radio Network, CP3 coming to you live from the lab, episode 281, the first Victory Monday of the 2022 season.
Carol, real quickly, your camera's not on my Zoom feed.
Say what?
Your camera's not on my Zoom feed.
Really? Oh boy, that's not good. Well, let me go see what's going on with that. I don't remember turning it off, but there we go.
There we go.
Some reason
Sorry.
it was going. It's all good. We have those glitches every now and again. Nothing wrong with that. But it's glad to be back. Have RobbieG back on the podcast for the first Victory Monday of the NFL season. We also got Dujunnea in the background waiting to come on. Can't wait to get his take. And we got DC's People's Champ in the building. He's taking a hiatus after the NBA season was over, but is glad to have him back on. I got the wrestling on, somebody probably doing the same thing. We also had the Monday Night Football game come on, the Revenge Tour. Russell Wilson against Seattle, the Denver Broncos, that is. Seattle's up 7-3 right now. Injury for the Seattle, a big blow. There's safety, Adams, I can't remember his first name. I know Dujunnea probably key that in when I come back. He just went out on the stretcher like it might be a knee, and that's not a good thing. The Commanders also had a player going to IR today. Mathis, torn meniscus, done for the season. So I'm going to talk about that later on, but had an injury here, so might as well talk about it here. And they signed Donovan Jeter from the practice squad to replace him, and they'll probably be looking at someone else to probably scoop up off the waiver wire, because there are a few quality defensive tackles that are still out there on the waiver wire. And for all of you folks that don't know, if they're a veteran of over 6 years, you sign up a 4-week one, their contract is guaranteed. But that's why you see a lot of teams sign players after week one, veterans, that is, because if they cut them later on in the season, they're not looking for the money for the salary cap. So that's just a little FYI for you in case you didn't know. But RobbieG, how are you doing today in the man cave over there? How was your vacation and traveling with the fam with 2 little ones? I already know that was an adventure in itself. How's everything going, man?
It's good. It's so great to be back. I'm very excited to be on this podcast. I am so excited that the Commanders won their first game, so we can start off with a victory. I'm excited that you get to join us tonight, and that we've got a whole crew of people we're going to bring in just a second, including Dujunnea and Champ. And so it's a fun night. We've got a live Monday Night Football game going on right here. I just shared the Facebook feed to a bunch of people. Hello to everybody on Twitch and on Carol's feeds as well. But yeah, it went well. All the trips I took with the family were great. It's been a really wonderful 3 months. I can't believe how quickly it went, but also how much I missed this and talking football and all the sports. And field goal attempt is good by the Seahawks. They take a 10-3 lead with 7:20 left in this first half. But yeah, it was a fun summer. It's crazy that Zach turned 4. Zara's about to turn 1 now. It's just, time is flying. They're actually, all the kids and my wife are actually in Texas tonight, so I've got the house to myself. But yeah, it'll be a fun show. And then people who want to stay live on our Twitch channel, I just want to give a little shout out. I'm going to be doing an art stream, starting a little bit after this stream, about 10 o'clock. So I know that people who might be on Carol's feed or on other feeds, if they want to come over on Twitch, they can feel free to see me make emotes. And if no one knows what an emote is, it's a graphic that you then display on Twitch that people use when they're subscribed to you. So if anyone wants to know more, jump on over to our Twitch feed, and we can always tell you more about that. And yeah, but it's been a great summer, a great year. Super excited about football. And let's bring in our guests real quick, and then we can start it up. And I'm going to bring in Champ and Dujunnea right now. We'll start off with you, Champ. How are you doing tonight?
Finally, the Champ has come back to Sports on the Hill podcast, and I'm excited to be here to talk about Victory Monday on the first game of the season. I'm glad to be here with you guys, and I'm also especially glad to be here with the man, the myth, the legend that's known as Dujunnea. It's great to be here. I'm happy to talk with y'all.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good show, great game, and a lot of things to talk about. Because yeah, I got a checklist on my paperwork right now.
Dujunnea, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. It's great to be back. A lot of NHRA coverage. It's great to be back in football for sure. It keeps me busy now. Playoffs for NHRA, and here we are getting into the first week of the season. So it's always nice to start off in the media with a team win, especially with all the changes that we've had all throughout the off season. So it's nice for the fan base to be happy when you're covering this team.
Come on now, you know this.
Are they happy?
For some of us, for some of them, you know what I mean? For some of them.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that despite a victory, despite coming back and Carson Wentz putting up numbers that haven't been matched since Billy Kilmer on opening day, and for a lot of you folks that don't know that is, go Google it. In the 70s, a lot of y'all don't even understand the 1900. Y'all just worry about the 2000. But yeah, so he had a up and down game. There were some things that I liked, didn't like. A lot of folks are super critical on the interceptions. I went back and looked at them and listened to coach's presser today and have heard him break it down also. It was definitely good to see this team come back with all the adversity and all the stuff that was going on in the game. I'm not even talking about the off the field stuff. We're talking about on the field. But started out hot. I was definitely impressed with Scott Turner. Got to give him a shout out because his game plan and his play calling, for the most part, I got to give him a thumbs up. He was spreading the ball around. He was getting the ball to the weapons, putting Carson in a position to be successful in the win. I'm gonna touch on the 2 interceptions. First one, he knew he made a mistake, threw it late, half a second late, boom, threw it behind, interception. The one for the screen that everyone is going crazy about, if you listen to the coach today, he should have threw it in the ground, granted. But the first round pick was actually in the wrong position. It's at the right time. When he was trying to force it in, he wasn't supposed to be there. So he was trying to reactionary, threw the ball, should have threw it in the ground. But the number 1 pick showed why. He's the number 1 pick, and he made a mistake. But no one's going to be perfect at any given point. You're going to have mistakes made in the game. Those were 2 bad mistakes, swung the momentum. But as he said, after he got the game ball, it is, it doesn't matter going through the rust spots. It's all how you finish and you deal with those rust spots. And they came back. He went 8 for 11 with 2 touchdowns after those 2 interceptions. So to me, I don't have anything bad to say. You had your ups and downs, but the man played a hell of a game. He was out there being a leader. Offense looked fantastic. When have we seen an offense like, wide open, taking chances and actually executing on the field? So I don't understand why people are upset, but I thought it was all in all a good team win. Dujunnea, what do you say?
Where do you want me to start first?
I say start with Carson first and then work your way down.
Okay, so I've had the opportunity to watch this game 4 times.
Okay.
And I've watched it from front to back. I really focused on that play. I rewound that thing like several times. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if it's Carson Wentz, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Coach got all technical with him being out of position and all of that. I don't even care about all of that. The fact of the matter is he engages the linebacker. He engages the lineman, right? Then he disengages and he sees Carson getting ready to cock the throw. He steps in the throwing lane. And I heard if you guys watched on TV and you weren't at the game yesterday, you hear the commentator talk about how you just can't throw that ball. When you see those colors, you have to throw the ball away. Mm-hmm. I looked at that thing and I looked at the replay. I looked at the play and the replay, and there was no part of him that flashed. I didn't see any type of color at all. So I'm sure at the moment he thought that was open until he steps back into the lane. You couldn't see him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know how you win on that. Do you assume and throw it in the dirt? Okay, but that's assuming he saw him. And I don't think from those vantage points and the angles that we have, hopefully at some point the All-22 will come out here soon, but we get the coach's film, but I'm just like, I don't know what you can do there. It was a great play by the linebacker. Go over there and shake his hand and pat him on the back. Mm-hmm. Carson was late and he knew he was late. He admitted that. Coach said he was late. It was clear. I mean, you could see it. He had another option too underneath. That was the other part that was kind of, I wouldn't say it's frustrating, but it's like, dude, you had the guy underneath. You didn't have to force the ball there. You had to have known that you were late there. Okay, so, I mean, it was late. The guy made a good play, is what it is. For the most part, though, I want to focus on the fact that something with this team that has not been done in quite some time, probably since Robert Griffin III. And I know people, cringe when they hear that name, but it's just the facts. Since then, because I'm not even throwing Stat Boy Cousins in there, you have those type of turnovers, and we've seen this whole entire team and everything about it collapse in those moments. To come back and do what he did, and throw that touchdown pass to Terry, and then to come back and orchestrate another drive to throw a dart to the rookie. I don't think you could be mad about it. I mean, to win a game with 3 turnovers, when is the last time Washington won a game with 3 turnovers? I'm sure none of you young folks remember that. I don't think it's ever happened in your era. But
It's been a
yeah.
while.
So, sure, he made some mistakes, but at the end of the day, I think you guys have to give a little credit and see what a real quarterback can do that has some talent and has some wherewithal and some smarts about him, that can do with the football. Any other game, we're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars winning yesterday. So I give Carson a lot of credit for bouncing back in a situation where he could have gotten into himself, hung his head low, and kind of curled up in the ball, and the offense could have folded. They all stood up and rallied and made plays and got back in that game and then took it over. So huge for, Ron Rivera and this team. And, I'm just looking forward to seeing what's next.
Real quickly, I just want to do a scoring update. Russell Wilson just scored a beautiful touchdown. The
Yes.
guy broke a tackle, and they tied the game 10-10. It's so interesting that this game is week 1, where he goes right back. Like, how do they even schedule this? Like, that's just so crazy to me that this is the Monday Night Football game. Like,
Well, all I got to say is I'm glad to Jerry Judy, because that's another 12 points for me right there. So trying to pad my numbers. I missed the playoffs last year by the point differential. I already got the win, so now I'm just looking to pad the stats now.
yeah. So, but it's interesting because it kind of, speaking of quarterbacks going against teams that, I don't know, may have slighted them. It was just interesting because the narrative in the third quarter was, oh no, he's going to choke against this Jaguars team 2 games in a row. It's going to end his time with one franchise, and it'd be a tough way to start his time with the second franchise. And I'm just so happy that wasn't the narrative that we're talking about. Yeah, and he was able to have that resilient fourth quarter. And
believe me, Robbie, I had someone actually tag me in a post in the third quarter.
well, good for them. They jinxed it.
Yeah, talking about
I
they
appreciate
can't
them.
wait for the excuses that I'm going to make. And as I was breaking down that post, after they had the audacity to tag me in the middle of a game, and as I'm dissecting this post, we took the lead and won the game. And at the end, I said, this post didn't age well, did it? Stay in your lane, look forward, stop worrying about what used to have to happen.
I applaud you for not responding in the moment, though. So, wait until the end of the game. And
normally I do.
I know. So that's why
I feel confident about it, because you get a different feel. And like when I was saying before, on the shows that, I was doing by myself, you guys didn't get a chance to be here. But I said this year with Coach Rivera, his approach this offseason in training camp, when he said he was actually sitting in the defensive meeting rooms, he was sitting in the offensive meeting rooms. And when he made the move to fire Sam Mills, a longtime friend and coach that he's worked with since 2011, because they didn't see eye to eye, to me, that's him saying there's no more excuses. This is year 3. If we're not on the same page, then yeah, we need to do something about that. And the fact that he pulled that trigger and had someone ready to step right in there and, help the team play better, work at the pace that he wants. And then the addition of Ryan Kerrigan, which I spoke about a little bit last week. I love that because he was a great defensive lineman. He has good moves. He knows, how to get to the quarterback. He knows how to read when the screen is there to get the pick sixes and bat the ball. We've seen him do that several times in his career. So I believe everything with this team is going to, be on the right direction in this third year because, like we all said, this is a make or break year. I don't feel that Ron's on the hot seat, but this is definitely a make or break year for him.
Well, he said 3 years, so this is year 3. Need to see some progress. I'll add with what you said about Scott Turner. I thought he called a really good game, but I also I'm not going to come down on him. I'm just going to say that he took his foot off the gas. There was a lot of passing that was effective that he decided that he was going to let his foot off the gas a little bit and get comfortable with the lead. I felt they could have kept the foot down with what they were doing in the passing game. I don't know, daggone Curtis Samuel was looking like a human joystick out there. There's a lot of things they could have done, and they kind of let up off of that a little bit and allowed themselves to kind of lulled their own selves to sleep a little bit. Would have liked to have seen him put his foot on the gas a little bit more because next week is going to be a little bit tougher. That team scored quite a bit of points, even though they lost.
Real quickly, I really have a question because I wanted to ask you both, Carol and Dujunnea, this, and Champion got his thoughts on it as well. Why didn't they go to Scary Terry more? Was he double teamed? They weren't even showing that from, they were always showing the direction that they were going with the ball, and I rarely saw, the coverage that Terry was getting. I know that Dujunnea, sometimes you check out film from different angles that you get. Could you speak to that a little bit about were they doubling him or what was the rationale of not going to him more?
I don't think they were doubling him. What I think they were doing is they saw something that was working and they stuck with it. That's something that Carol has talked about often, in the last several years. And I've even spoke about that. I thought what they were doing with Samuel was working. They were allowing him to get into space. They were allowing him to do his thing. Then they were using Gibson out of the backfield. I think Gibson had 7 receptions for like 72 yards or something like that. So they were using him in the running game and also in the passing game. So what they had, and then they were sprinkling in dots in here and there. What they had was going well. They threw the ball to Logan Thomas a couple times as well. So I didn't think they needed to get away from what they were doing well. Now you saw there were opportunities, and I saw a couple opportunities where they could have gone there, and then when they had to, they did. And I think in this offense,
and maybe that's a reason, if they don't go to him all game long, they kind of play off him just even for a little bit, and that's all they need,
Because I think in this next game, I think with what you have here, offensively, with the weapons you have, they're going to feature someone else next week. And the Lions are going to look at this film, and they're going to look at all these different things and look at what they did this week. And next week, Scott Turner's going to come out. He's going to feature another wide receiver in this offense. And then once that starts to wear out a little bit or whatever, they'll go to them and they'll start sprinkling some other guys in. They'll bring Samuel back in and they'll do some different things with him. They have so many options. They never even touch the surface of what they can do with these weapons. So I really think that's what their intent was. They ain't going to put too much on film if they don't have to. And they didn't do that. They just kept with what was working. And I thought that was good. Wish they would have stayed with that a little bit longer. They may have put more points on the board in that little lull that they had.
Real quickly, there's a scoring update. Carol, did you see the touchdown?
Yeah, I saw the touchdown. That was a beautiful. I was about to say first, who is this Geno Smith we're watching right now? This is threading needle. This dude is making good reads. I'm like, where did this Geno Smith come from? Maybe he needed a few years in the league, but he definitely made a good read and made a hell of a throw on that pass to the tight end down the seam. So yeah, he's definitely playing well.
I want to get both your and Champ's thoughts on the wide receiver in general.
Let me touch on that. We're going back to what you were saying, dude. I don't feel like it was a lull. I felt like Jacksonville made an adjustment. In the first half, they were blitzing, but they weren't blitzing aggressively. In that third quarter and a little bit in the fourth, they mixed it up. and started doing some different things that it took Turner a little bit too long to adjust to, that he should have went back to some of the quick throws and the stuff that he was doing to Samuels that he didn't do. It was
I'll
a couple
give you that.
times he got too fancy, and it cost him, like on the fumble to Samuels. If he had just kept running the ball regular with Gibson, he wouldn't have had the ball. That wouldn't happen when they lined up with Samuel and Gibson in the backfield for the RPO look. That blew up in their face when they tried to get a fancy trick play. So I understand pushing the envelope, but sometimes, like you said, you got to stick with what's working. And
yeah, I like how Samuel went back and after that fumble, he began to cover the ball a little bit more and was more secure with it. I love that as well.
And then the wide receiver, kind of to piggyback off of what Dujunnea said, McLaurin has had to do what he's done by himself for so long. So I don't mind that he doesn't get the ball in the first half or the first week of the game. It's about, like you say, setting up your plays, taking the pressure off of him, and showcasing the other talent that these players, his other teammates have also, so to give the defense something else to worry about. We know what Terry can do. Now put the fear in the other defenses of what the other players can do. So now you're like, oh shit, we got Terry over here, but now we got to worry about Samuel in the slot coming out the backfield. We got to worry about Dotson and his duct tape hands that no matter where he throw the ball, he's going to catch it. Worry about Antonio Gibson. Is he going to be in space? Is he going to be in the backfield? And just wait till Robinson comes back when he's going to take more of the workload of the running game. So just imagine the looks that Scott Turner's going to put out there when you got a Gibson, a Samuel, a Dotson, and a McLaurin, and it could be a screen, bubble screen, quick slant, double move. Who knows? You're going to have somebody, if they start continuing to be effective, you're going to have some of these defensive coordinators having nightmares about this offense. And we didn't even talk about the tight ends, which they say is one of the stronger position groups on the team. Yeah. So this offense, I feel like, no matter who gets the ball, just like Patrick Mahomes said, and he showed, now that Tyreek's gone, it's not going to be one player each week that's going to blow up. Now we're going to have a plethora of people that's going to excel and do what they need to do and be game breakers. So you fantasy football guys, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but everybody's going to get the ball and everyone's going to be able to score. So I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I know some Cowboys fans that actually pick up some, people, and they're kind of mad that they're not getting more touches. That's one of the things I was bringing up. But I want to get Champ involved here. Champ, what are some of your thoughts on what you saw from the wide receivers in Week 1?
Well, Carroll said it best in the post game yesterday that for the first time in a long time, this team has a wide receiver core. We have a wide receiver core. You can't defenses, and more specifically DBs, cannot just focus on any one guy. They have to focus on everybody. You got Samuels who's playing on one side, McLaurin on the other, Dotson in the slot. You use Samuels as a running back, and also you have Logan Thomas, who looks like he's fully healthy and can play and plays well. So when it comes to the receivers, Carson Wentz, who everybody questioned his accuracy issues, though granted he had some questionable throws. I'm just, as a fan watching, I'm just putting it out there. He has some questionable throws, but for the most part, he has weapons. This quarterback has weapons that could get him far, and he showed that yesterday, throwing for over 300 yards, 313 yards with 4 touchdowns. Yes, 2 interceptions. Yeah, that's going to happen, unfortunately. But he has a core, and the core worked yesterday, because not only did 4 of your receivers and a tight end get involved, 2 of your running backs got catches as well. 7 different people caught a football from Carson Wentz yesterday. You can't ask for anything better than that from your offense. My only complaint, though, and this is something that Sip mentioned to me when I talked to him yesterday, they were totally unbalanced. They passed more than they ran. That was my only complaint. Balance it out. This offense is dangerous.
Well, I mean, there was balance for the most part. And he did, some of the things that he does with Samuel out the backfield, you can look at it as a run or a short pass, or is the key to his offense is to keep the defense guessing. So I didn't like the third down and shotgun sometimes in short distance. I'm like, sometimes you just got to, line up and run the ball.
Punch somebody in the mouth.
Yeah, that's just the old school in me. But I mean, for the most part, the strategy that he used, the game plan that he used, and the fact that he was setting up his plays, and I know we all was that third down, clock winning, late in the fourth quarter, already in field goal range. I know a lot of folks are probably screaming, why are you going to pass it? Why are you going to pass it? And then Dotson make that great catch and, gets the game-winning touchdown. That's the mentality. We've had the times where, we've had to settle for a field goal and put the defense back out there with a minute and something, the other team with 2 timeouts when I needed a field goal to win. And then, the defense doesn't get a 3 and out and they drive down and kick a long field goal to win. Then everybody's mad and upset. But now they get the touchdown, put the pressure on the other team, and then force the game and then turnover with them trying to force the ball. So it's all the way the strategy and how you look at things. You're not going to have a game where everything is going to go your way all 4 quarters. It's about how you react to it after those things happen. And this team reacted very well.
And Carol, I listen to a lot of these people talk about Carson, but can't we really look at Carson as being a Kirk Cousins if you want to put him and talk about all the negative? I mean, the guy, Kirk was a stat machine, made a lot of plays, also made some of those head scratchers. And, the thing about it is that like I said, what was on display today or yesterday was in the critical moments. That's the difference between Taylor Heineke and a Carson Wentz. That's the difference. He can make that throw late in the game, in the corner of the end zone, where only his receiver can get it. And I've heard people, if he only had turned around, it'd have been an interception. Whatever, dog. Okay, just he can't accept nothing good at all. Like just piss on everything. But it was a heck of a throw, and it takes precision to make that type of throw, to put it in a position where your receiver can catch it and still keep his feet in bounds to make sure that is a score. A lot of impressive stuff and a lot of good things to take away, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
No doubt. Yeah, that's funny that they said the feet are turned around. Because if you check the video that I put out, the commentator broke it down beautifully on that play that Dotson made that double move and made it so it was no way that the cornerback could get it. And if you looked at the cornerback, he was like disgusted. He's like, man, there's nothing I can do. The ball went right like over his shoulder. If he would have turned around in a second, he would have saw it. But the way
it would have been too late.
Yeah, the way
it'd have been too late.
He's a route runner. That's why they drafted him. He knows how to use his body.
And he sold it well. Like, exactly. You know how some guys, like, they get all giddy and their hands get up all up in the air. They trying to reach for the ball instead of letting the ball come to them and go grab it at the point. He never gave any indication where the ball was. And I thought that was a good thing. And when it got on him is when he made the play for the ball. It was a really good job by the Rook.
I mean, both of his touchdowns were a thing of beauty with his running. Because that pass to Carson, from Carson with right in the red zone, shook his man, made that move. His man was like gone, and that split second, Carson perfect timing on the throw. And they were talking about the chemistry that they had, and it's on display in the first week. First half of the game. So I'm loving what I'm seeing. Let me go over these. I wrote all these stats down. Let me go over these stats so I didn't waste my time writing it all down before we get out of here. We can talk about this all day and talk about the fans that could find some negative out of anything. Y'all know I call y'all abuse spouse syndrome folks now. Y'all in a bad relationship that you're always complaining on social media about the team. Like it's a bad baby mama or baby daddy and don't want to get out of a relationship. Go. Leave. We don't want you. I'm tired of reading it online. But
Robbie pointed out to me somebody that used to be a Facebook friend of mine that was just all over his post about the picks, not letting go of the pass. And I finally called him out and said, dude, you're embarrassing. I said, you're so embarrassing. Let it go and just move on, dude. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, I don't understand why people are so like, people came into our post game yesterday and they were like, they found us by searching Washington Commanders on Twitch. And then they came to say, I will always be a Redskins fan. I was like, you really just came all the way just to say that? Like, you can't just enjoy the win? Like, what?
Wow.
They find a way to be upset. I was going to screenshot this. I had actually had someone text me last night complaining about our defense and giving the Cowboys credit as they're losing the game, saying, how come we can't turn our defense around like the Cowboys did? I'm like,
whoa.
Hold on.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
and this is supposed to be a Commanders fan.
Whoa.
While the Cowboys
Did he watch that game?
That's what I asked him. I'm like,
Cowboys are ass. They were ass last night.
They're talking about. Oh well,
Don't get me started on that, bro.
Carol,
So,
you know,
like I said, that's another whole. Let me go ahead and get into that. That's
but
another
real quickly before you do that, do you know Heineke was trending today on Twitter? I saw that. I was like, what? Because people are saying that Dallas should try to trade for him.
I mean, they not wrong though.
But
they're not wrong.
Trading to the Cowboys. I'm sorry.
You going into the next 8 weeks with Cooper Rush?
Right.
Get out of here.
Carol, would you take a first round pick next year for him right now?
Darn right.
Hell yeah.
I would. So
Hell
I mean,
yeah, I'll take a first round. They want to give a first round pick for him.
This team got Sam Howell. All right. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying we know what he can do and know what he can't do. So they want to give a first round pick, and we still got to play him twice. Hey, I'll take that from the football.
It don't matter who they got back there at center anyway, as long as Kellen Moore and that guy who continues to piss down his leg every week, Mike McCarthy is there. They ain't going nowhere. You see the same stuff you saw last year. Same stuff. Don't get me started.
Like I said, when they hired McCarthy, I didn't have no fear whatsoever. So I was like, cool. All right, let's go to get into some of these stats real quick. I was, like I said, I was very impressed with the offense and the defense played well, getting off the field on third downs was one of my key to victories. Washington had 26 first downs. Jacksonville had 23. Washington went 7 for 10 on third down on offense and held Jacksonville to 3 for 12 on third down. 305 passing yards for Washington, 260 for Jacksonville, 84 yards rushing for Washington, 123 for Jacksonville.
That's my problem.
Yeah, with the rushes, it wasn't an all day thing. It was sporadic because Robinson, honestly, I benched him because I didn't think he was going to be healthy after the injury and him not playing any preseason, no training camp. I was not expecting him to have the impact that he had in the game.
And I will say it was not a continual thing, which they were stupid. That was stupid on their part because they should have been continuing to run the ball. Mm-hmm. And here's my thing. The defense played well, but they did not do well stopping the run. You allowed 6.8 yards per carry. Okay. That's not good. I don't care if it's in small sample or not. That's not good. And when I looked at the film, it's the same stuff that we talk about. It wasn't necessarily that it's being out of position and getting caught up in traffic that you have no business being in. You get what I'm saying? And it's the linebackers, because it's the outside linebacker that has the ability to force that play back inside or have him bounce it out to his guy that's likely the corner that's sitting around waiting. But if you come and crash in with the DN and get caught up in the traffic, well, now you're not in the gap and you know where to make the play. And now your corner has to come all the way out from nowhere to make that play. And how many times did we see that the defensive end on the right side was really, really in the play, was trailing right behind the runner? If you're in that gap, he has no way where to explode to, but to get slowed down and get caught from behind. So that's my problem, because Detroit ran the ball for 6.2 yards per carry. Now, I'm not trying to be critical, but that is a big issue as far as running the ball, especially against a team that put up the points that they did, even though they lost. So you got to go on the road, and that little thing's got to be fixed. It's fixable. I just don't like it. That's a lot of yards.
See, I don't think it's going to be a big issue next week, because you also got to look at the fact that with their rush discipline that they had yesterday, keeping Lawrence in the pocket, I think they were more focused on that. So when they started mixing in the run and the play action game, I think they were more focused. I feel like he was more dangerous with his legs than either one of the running.
He is. Yeah, people don't give him any credit for that, but he is.
Yeah, so I figured that was kind of like a trade-off. I don't mind getting gashed every now and again as long as they're staying gap discipline. He didn't have any chance to get out of the pocket yesterday and extend plays on third down.
That's true.
He didn't do. So I feel what you're saying, but I feel like with this week going up against Detroit with a quarterback that's not really known for being elusive and getting out of the pocket. I believe they'll be more disciplined and more focused on the running game as opposed to trying to make sure with the RPO game, especially with Doug Peterson calling plays, you don't know what the hell to expect. So I feel what you're saying is something that 6.8 ain't a good thing at all. But I feel like they'll have more focus on the next week against Detroit. And I think they'll definitely get that number down, depending on Jonathan Allen's status. I know he got the MRI on his groin. He said he felt good. I haven't seen any results on that.
Right.
And
neither.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting to hear from that. He said he felt good. Some folks said he got kicked in the McNuggets, so I don't know. But
second thing, Jamin Davis, I love him, and this is not a fault of his. It's kind of a twofold thing. Either Jack, you got to stop letting him, calling these defenses where he's going to be put into mismatch situations, because it's not like he doesn't have the speed. For Jamin, though, if you're going to be in those situations, because you are, you know what I mean? It's not going to never happen. You're going to be in those situations where you're going to be in mismatch. And I'm writing about this for next week. You guys are getting a preview. But it's just a matter of him knowing where he's supposed to be and knowing his depth. I believe it was the Christian Kirk pass. He needed to be a little bit to the left. Need to be a little bit inside and a little bit inside and in the back to force that thing a little higher, and they're not going to make that play at all. He just wasn't in the right spot. He had a couple spots against ETN, which ETN's a tough cover, but he just needed to be in a better spot. He has the speed and ability to cover. That's what I want people to know. He can do it. It's just if you're not in position, it doesn't matter whether you have the speed or not, you're going to get worked. And there's a couple times, obviously, they can give up a lot of third downs, but there are a couple times during the drives where he got caught out of position, ended up being big plays that allowed them to get into, some areas of where they were able to turn some of those into points.
Yeah, coach actually talked about that in the press conference about that play with Kirk, about him not having a proper leverage, knowing where his backup was and his zone was. But, he wasn't perfect, but he was in the right place for the majority of the time.
Right.
He playing fast.
That Jags team looked better than we've seen in a long time.
They are.
I wonder how they're going to
explain to people. This is not Urban Meyer. This is Doug Peterson. They put money into their defense. They went out and spent money to improve their team. They brought in Doug Peterson. You saw what he did in Philly. You saw how he killed our coordinators. He can outcoach you by just being an offensive coordinator. So
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but just think if Trevor Lawrence hits a couple of those plays where you got Kendall Fuller trying to pick up his butt cheeks because he's freaking dragging behind that he got caught out of position of. Just think about that. If he hits a couple of more of those shots, we could be talking about a different ball game. So yes, there were things and errors that they made
in the first half.
Yes.
How
about that drop by ETN? He could have walked in the end zone. He dropped it right there. Dropped the biscuit. He basically raked it out of his own hands. It was ridiculous.
The dunk field goal. There was a lot of misplays on that.
But I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just saying
no,
that's
a
better
agree.
Jags team than people are like, oh, well, he didn't really play anybody. But yes, they played a team that is formidable and I think is going to win a lot more games than people give them credit for. They've got a really good coaching staff. Trevor Lawrence is a good coach, and they're going to play to his strengths, and they've got weapons around this guy. That's Zay Jones and Marvin Jones and Christian Kirk. Hey, they can get behind the defense. And then you got ETN running around there looking like another Antonio Gibson and running and passing. They got some stuff over there, man. Washington's defense enabling to get that pressure and being able to do that pretty consistently. Giving the circumstances of their defensive line as far as injuries go, is pretty substantial and remarkable.
One last thing I wanted to say on that is the whole entire AFC South, no one won a game. In fact, two teams played each other, so it shouldn't even be possible. But that team but that team may actually make some noise in that division. I would not be surprised if the Jacksonville Jaguars actually end up, maybe even winning that division.
Colts and Jags will be fighting it out.
Yeah, someone told me when I talked about the team winning, it was like, well, y'all just played the Jags. I'm like, y'all realize this is a different Jags team than last year, and they showed it. Washington almost sold that game, to be honest. And I tell people that all day today. I said Washington almost sold that game. They luckily hung on, but they were facing a different Jag team than the Jags that were last year that were absolutely hot garbage. So
they'd have laid down in the second quarter. That Jags team last year, it'd have been over. It'd have been over before half.
Facts.
Yeah, it's crazy how folks, want to find fault in anything, but it was a hard fought victory. They played well. Like I said, they went over the numbers. It was 70% on offense on third down conversions. When the hell have we seen that? Held them 3 for 12. Exactly, 3 for 12 on third down conversions. Got them off the field. We had the 3 turnovers. Like I said, there's always something you can work on. There's always stuff you can improve on, but you don't want to just harp on the negative. You got to point out the good and point out the stuff that you need to improve on. So,
Robbie, I'm gonna ask you a question. So yesterday, as a fan, was there ever a moment on third down that you felt like you felt last year where third downs were an anomaly? I mean, there's a pit in your stomach for fans there. You got the bubble guts. You don't know whether you're going to convert this third down or not. I even throw that to DC's People Champ as well.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time yesterday that you felt like they couldn't convert on third down, especially in the critical moments where they needed to get down the field and score?
So here's how I felt, and my dad called in a lot to me. I talked about this yesterday. He was, selling the team in the third quarter, and then, obviously we had that comeback. So there was moments where I was feeling anxious and nervous, but to speak to the third down specifically, I felt more confident than I had in the past because I know that Carson Wentz has made plays before, and so he's a veteran quarterback. And yes, they'll make mistakes, but he can actually make those deep throws. I didn't know if we were going to get to see it in the fourth quarter. I was happy to see it, but I knew there was like a potential there where, I like Taylor Heineke and I like some of the other people we've had, but I still never felt that he was a true NFL quarterback in that sort of same mold, if you will. Yeah.
I will say I did have some confidence in the offense being able to convert on third down. Where my lack of confidence was the defense getting off the field on third down. And when I heard Carroll's stat about Jags third down conversion yesterday, I said, that is the stat I love to hear, because that means you're getting off the field when it counts and not letting drives keep being extended, which gasses you out. And then you end up giving up the big play because you're so gassed out because you're not getting off the field. So offensively, I was like, okay, I think they can do it. But defensively is where I was like, I don't know. But yesterday they kind of showed they can get off the field on third down. I want to see that be consistent throughout the entire season, though. I don't want this to be a one-game anomaly where Jags only converted four third downs or 3 or something like that.
It was 3.
Yeah, I want to see that be a consistent thing for the other 16 games of the season, not just this game. Get only 3, maybe 4 conversions of third down out of like 12, and I'll be happy.
Well, also bend don't break. We gave them some big yardage throughout the game, but we were able to hold them to either nothing, a field goal attempt, and maybe nothing. And we held them on the 2-point conversion, which I thought could play into the game, obviously. Right. So I was really happy. I really felt like the offense won this game more than the defense did, which I was not expecting. I thought to win this game, the defense had to win the game, and I agree the defense had some good stats, but for me, the offense stepped up when it needed to when we were down 8. The defense kind of let them back in it a little bit. I think it's going to have to be each week. It's going to be a little different. Some weeks we're going to have to rely on the defense, and some weeks we're going to have to rely on the offense if we want to try to put 10 wins together this season.
The defense got the ball. Hold on now. The defense got the ball back in the fourth quarter for him to get those 2 drives to go.
That's true. That's true.
So,
they did. They were gassed and they made plays. I mean, that's the first time we've ever seen that.
Yeah, but like I say, the defense played well. When you're going up against Doug Peterson, you're never going to have a game where they don't get anything. So that's why I'm like, I understand people saying, "Oh, the defense did." Yeah, it was some bad stuff. Kendall Fuller, he got undressed a couple of times. That PI wasn't a PI.
No, I thought that was ticky-tack. But if that's how they're going to call it, and I said this on C-Wall show, if that's how they're going to call it, then you have to make the adjustment and play accordingly. You have to correct it because they're going to continue to call it. And if this is how they're going to call it, then they're probably going to call this all season. And I know Fuller likes to play aggressive, but he's going to have to change his style up a little bit. And so he doesn't get those ticky-tack calls. But to me, I agree with you, Carol. It was ticky-tack. It was garbage.
Fuller, I've never been real confident with him on the outside. I liked him better.
I like him in the slot.
Yeah, but now we have better slot corners. So my thing is with the players that with Castro and that they picked up off of waivers, how they are touting him. I feel like Fuller with that contract, if he have another game like he had this game, because Castro was inactive this game. So if he go out there and get another couple of PIs and give up a touchdown, that's what I said. Coach ain't playing. He don't care what your contract is, how long he done known you. If you ain't executing and you ain't on the same page, I say bench his butt. Because ain't nobody too wrong to get benched. If you can't do your job, go have a seat. But like I say, I'm not. It's week one. I'm not criticizing. He adjusted. He was one of the better corners in the league at the end of last year. You know, it's the end of the season. But I just don't have the same panic that everyone else has with the defense right now. And I know we about to go long, but got to give a shout out to Derek Forrest, second-year player, drafted last year. You know, everybody, I had a couple of folks on, he's a bust, he can't stay healthy. You know, I looked at the tape. You know, I don't watch college ball. I watch, I film after we draft him, and I saw the instincts and I saw what he can do. And the way they were saying that he had a solid camp and the light had finally clicked on, and he understands where he's supposed to be and what he's supposed to do.
That boy was balling yesterday.
Yeah,
that boy was balling yesterday.
Forced fumble, interception, deflection in the end zone to stop a touchdown.
Yeah. He was balling yesterday.
Yeah, but then folks want to complain about the deal. I'm like, really? Aren't we going to talk about this the development of a player that we drafted in the 5th round that everybody was like, why are you drafting him? You got Cam Curl. And then he goes out and balls out, and it's like chirp, 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 chirp. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Right.
We want to talk about, they got gashed and it was a Jacksonville. Bruh, come on. You got to look at the positive and look at the bright spots of this team is progressing. First week, this man stepped in for 9. Folks was already complaining, Cam not there. We're going to get smoked in the secondary. It's going to this and that. And the man balled out.
Yeah, he balled out.
And no one talked about it. It's crazy. But like I said, that could be a whole nother show. Let's look at the Detroit game real quick. We got to wrap it. I know Robbie got somebody waiting in the wings.
No, you're it's all good. I definitely think I want to get each of your takes, all 3 of your takes on the Detroit game. And then I'll let Carol solo the baseball segment, unless either of you guys want to join him for baseball. I know
ain't really nothing.
Man, I ain't watched
no baseball.
I'm about to say I ain't watched the Nats game in like 2 years.
I can't watch them.
And I don't even want to bring y'all down, so I'll let y'all get out of it before I got to talk about that.
I wanted to at least offer the opportunity, if but all right, let's get everyone's final breakdowns.
Liver and onions too.
We'll start with Champ. What is your thoughts going into the Lions game?
My thoughts are like they definitely have to duplicate some of what they did on offense in terms of spreading the ball around and making sure that everybody gets involved with the offense, run the ball a little bit more so that you can set up the play action pass to really open the field up a little bit more. And defensively, just continue to, when you get into those 3rd down situations where it's 3rd and short, 3rd and mid, 3rd and long, make sure you get off the field. Like get off a 3rd down, keep your defense rested, and they'll go out there and they'll do what they got to do. So I believe they can win against Detroit. Matt Ryan, he's, I think that's important. Huh?
He's not the same.
Yeah, he's so if you could get pressure on him, even though he is a veteran quarterback, you can get pressure on him and rattle him. I don't think he has a lot of weapons to really deal with. So I think defensively, just get off the field on 3rd downs. Offensively, do exactly what you did this week, except run the ball a little bit more, and I think they can beat Detroit. Oh, by the way, breaking news that came across the wire: TJ Watt doesn't have a torn pec. He might be back in 6 weeks.
Oh, that's cool. Wonder what is it? I know they was going to be talking about the day, so unless it's not a torn pec, then that would be almost the whole season.
Right. I'm looking at Geno Smith. He's passing it to everybody tonight. So,
I don't know where this dude came from.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. I didn't want to do a scoring up because there was a guy who's in chat who's recording the game. So we'll save that for just a minute until after this segment. But Dujunnea, what are your thoughts on Detroit?
I don't think Detroit should be slept on. They scored 35 points. Jared Goff was 21 of 37 for 215, 2 touchdowns and interception. I think this speaks a little bit to Philly's defense. more than it speaks to how well they played. Now, let's be honest here. They have weapons. Swift is no joke. He went for 144 against the highly touted Eagles here. And I'll be the first one to say that I have them being the cream of the crop of this division coming into this thing. They have St. Brown out there on the outside, DJ Chark, remember that guy? So they've got some guys that can make some plays. I really believe the pressure that they got on a mobile quarterback, if they can do that again on a stationary quarterback, some of these numbers are going to go down. My concern is on the run game. 6.8 this week. I understand what you're saying, Carol. As a media guy, I got to look at that. That's a concern. That's an area that we need to watch. They were 6.2 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, is that a testament to the Eagles defense? All these high stats? Possibly. They were also 9 of 14 on third down, but both teams were pretty crappy. Eagles were 10 of 17. So both defense wasn't playing worth a darn. If Washington can limit the third down conversions, shore up the running game, and I think they can get after Jared Goff, who's stationary. I thought they played pretty well on the outside, given the little things that we had with mismatches with the linebacker and Fuller not having a complete day. He had some miscues. I think they can win this game. I have it marked on our, even though it's kind of a haphazard thing, I kind of have it marked as a win here. And I believe that. I believe that they can win this game. Detroit, although they put up 35 points, I believe the Washington defense can kind of take a little bit of those 35 points off of there. But they do need to be aware that if they come out sleeping and thinking that it's just the Lions, they could get 35 biscuits put up on them pretty quick. So I'm not concerned about Washington's offense. I think they're going to go somewhere else this upcoming week. It won't be a Samuel feature. They're going to feature someone else, and they're going to sprinkle him in. I'm not worried about the offense at all. My concern is the defense. And I know what you're saying, Carol, and I agree. It's not that much of a concern, not like a tap the red button here, like we need to be scared. It's just that you allowed a lot of rushing yards. Swift is a more formidable running back and does an excellent job. They got also Jamal Williams as well. They need to be very concerned about those two. And if they can shore that up, put it on Goff's back, it's a wrap. They're going to get some interceptions, and Washington will be winning another one.
Yeah,
Definitely agree. I think as long as they stay gap sound, be true to, the gap assignments and, tackle and stop the run game, make them one-dimensional. I feel like this definitely should be a win. Like you said, you got to be wary and make sure you do your job and they're in the right position. And like I said, just move forward. There's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be, momentum swings in the game. It's all about how you finish the game. And, they started out fast. They had a little lull, but they, got it back right when they needed to. So I don't mind that combination. As long as you get out the gate fast, you establish yourself, you be dominant. The other team's going to make adjustments, try to make your adjustments quicker and, get the momentum back so it doesn't swing and it doesn't lose the lead like they did in this game. But, yeah, they definitely got to look out for Swift, especially on that turf in Detroit. That turf is fast and, one wrong angle or one bad move and that's 80 yards to the house, and then you're trying to figure out how to get out that hole. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting. Going to be definitely watching the injury report the rest of the week to see, who's in, who's out. And I think the offense is going to, do like they did, took time of possession, run the ball, keep the ball out of the other team's hands, and defense get them off the field and, get a lead and make them play catch up. And hopefully the defense stand up and they don't catch up. And we'll be celebrating another Victory Monday in week 2.
Yeah, real quickly, I just wanted to give a little update. So we've Jacksonville is got everyone except for Arun and my dad had us winning. And so Arun didn't believe in us, neither did my dad. For this Detroit game, only my dad didn't believe in us. So I think it's interesting that's a classic trap game in a lot of ways. The fact that we all agreed that we're going to do well. So I don't know. I think we could do well, but we just can't overlook anybody. We're not that good, so it's just
Right.
I think this Lions team is also very different, like the Jags, the Jags are as well. And they showed themselves this week, and stuff like that. Eddie, can we have you turn off your camera just for 1 second? Then when we get these guys off, we'll add you just for Carol's feed. Thank you. And just because I know it's throwing off Carol's feed. But we're gonna be bringing in Eddie in just a second. We're gonna do a quick baseball segment, but I just wanted to let Dujunnea give a quick little update about his podcast and let us know where we can find that, and then we'll get Dujunnea and get his sign off as well, and then we'll let Carol do like a quick 10-minute, 15-minute baseball segment.
I'm gonna dedicate this one to my guy, DC's People Champ. You guys know where you can find me. It's at Not Bland 21. The podcast will be starting back up this week for the breakdown, but I'm gonna give this one to DC's People Champ. Champ and Sith do an excellent job covering wrestling, pro wrestling. If you're a pro wrestling watcher, some of the greatest times I have watching pay-per-views is watching the True No Spots podcast. And I don't see enough of you guys in there. I know there's a lot of wrestling watchers out there. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go over to Twitch, find the True No Spots podcast. It's True No Spots pod, and subscribe. Even buy one of those, subscriptions there. You will have a great time watching pay-per-views with Champ and Sith. They do an excellent job. They do an excellent job breaking down wrestling as we get into, these different big-time pay-per-views that we have coming up. So please, I don't see enough of you guys in there. This is great stuff that they put together. They take the time to do it, and they do a good job of talking wrestling. We don't all have to agree, but it is all nice place to come together to talk some wrestling and talk some shop about what's going on in the world of wrestling. So please do that for me. It would be greatly appreciated, and those guys would too, because they work extremely hard to provide you the best in wrestling coverage.
I really appreciate that shout out, because I enjoy modding over there. I often lurk. I don't buy the pay-per-views myself, but I'll sometimes come in and just enjoy listening to them talk about it and how excited you guys all get for the moment.
I don't watch a pay-per-view without watching True No Spots podcast along with it. I don't care if they're ahead of me or not. I have to watch it with them. It's a new ritual, and it should be a ritual for you too.
Yes, I appreciate that. So it's awesome seeing that you in there, and people just come over to Twitch. I know it's like the dark side. People on Facebook really are scared by it. It's a really fun community. There's some great people in our chat here. A person we're about to bring on is a great person from Twitch as well. There's some wonderful people over here. It's not that scary. It's really opening, a very warm community. Yeah. It's very easy. You don't have to spend money if you don't want to. Yep. If you want to give a little extra bonus to the people who are doing some work, it's a great way to do that as well. Champ does a great show. I'm so happy that I've been able to make some of his emotes. I want to make some animated and some more emotes for him. So I'll definitely have him on. We'll do a collab stream sometime soon where we design some stuff for him. But it's a fun time. And everyone should definitely check out. I have given a shout out in our Twitch chat, but we should definitely shout him out more. But Dujunnea, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have you on next week.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you.
Champ, let people know what's happening on the No Spots podcast this week.
Dujunnea is goated for that. Thank you so much, my friend. I really do appreciate that. This week, we're going to be looking back on the week in wrestling, of course, as well as any news that pops up this week. Not much has been going on in the news outside of the whole thing with CM Punk and what happened last week. We'll see if there are any updates there, and we'll have a nice little third segment, little countdown thing that we'll be doing before we get into the week in review. So you can check us out streaming live on twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod, Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And the audio goes up every Sunday at 10 a.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Sounds good. Well, definitely people go check out sportsothp.com. Click the podcast partners button. I've got links for both Dujunnea and Champ in there. Also, if you click on, we have information for more, people over there, all over. We have our bios and stuff. You just click team, SportsOTHP on SportsOTHP.com. If you click on that, it's got the bios for all of our different team members. You can find all of their links, including Anna, Arun, Brian, Tim, Ken, Dujunnea, and others. So, it's a good place to get resources if you need to get all everyone's social media and stuff like that. But definitely check off the podcast partners link. That's the completed podcast. But if you want to be a part of the process of making it or some of these watch alongs, I definitely True No Spots Pod on Twitch is a great place to be. Thank you, champ. I look forward to you continuing to be in chat maybe for the next segment. We appreciate the football talk, and we'll talk more next week.
Arigato, sayonara.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn off my camera and let you just do a solo gig for 10 minutes. I'm going to go grab a couple of things and set up for the art stream while you do it, but I'll be listening. But I'll let you just rock and roll for the next 10, 15 on some quick baseball news.
All right, give me a quick second. Let me get my scene together. All right, go ahead and come in for Nationals talk. The Nats went 2-4 last week. Last 10, they went 4-6. They're currently sitting at 49-92, on the verge of a 100-loss season. It sucks, but it is what it is. They've been playing, like I said last week, they had a winning week. This week they weren't as lucky in the defensive category. In the bullpen category, they blew a few leads, especially getting swept by the Phillies. Had a few chances to get a win, but unfortunately the bullpen couldn't hold up a lead. And unfortunately, added to the losing of this year. But like I said, CJ Abrams actually had the play of the week. If you checked out the video on my YouTube channel that I shared, that I highlight I put out against Philly, he made a hell of a play, and the whole get a out that no one even expected, even Bob Carpenter. Excuse me, thought it was a hit and called it as a hit, and it was actually an out. But some of these younger players are playing well. Joey Menendez, who called up 10-year minor league player, he's been contributing. He has 8 home runs since he's been called up, since the Juan Soto trade. Corbin has pitched better. He had 2 wins in a row. He looked like he's starting to figure something out after 2 years of being so inconsistent and having, just double-digit losses. He's leading the majors and losses again this year. Not again, but this year also. But it's not as bad as everyone thinks. Got prospects, got some things coming up. We're going to see some players getting called up towards the end of the year to see. Excuse me, you have to pardon me. To see what else, see how these players are developing and see what they can add to the team, getting ready for spring training next year. Because season will be over, I believe, October 5th is the last game for the Nationals, and then postseason to be starting, and then we'll see who the new World Series champ is, and then next thing you know, spring training to be here before you know it. But let's go ahead and recap the week that was. They had a 4-game series versus the Cardinals, which they split. Won the first one, lost the 2 in the middle, and found a way to win the one. The last one, the third game, should have been a victory. Blown opportunity, had a 4-run lead, and someone gave up 5 runs in the inning in the bottom of the ninth to find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. But let's go ahead and get to this St. Louis series. They played pretty well. Unfortunately, like I said, they was only earned a split. The first game was a 6-0 win. Anibal Sanchez earned his second victory in a row. That put him at 2-5. He went 5 innings, giving up 2 hits, no runs, with 3 strikeouts and 2 walks. Jack Flaherty took the loss for St. Louis. That put him at 0-1. He went 5 innings, giving up 6 hits, 1 run with 6 strikeouts and 1 walk. Mason Thompson earned his first save of the year for the Nationals. He went 3 innings, giving up 1 hit, no runs with a strikeout and no walks. Top of the third, Lane Thomas had an RBI double. Top of the 6th, they put up 4 runs. Lane Thomas walked in with the bases loaded, walked in a run. Luis Garcia had an RBI single. Joey Menendez had an RBI single. And Luke Voigt had a sacrifice fly. And in the top of the 8th, Luis had a solo home run. The second game of the series was a 4-1 loss. Jose Quintana earned the victory for St. Louis. That put him at 5-6. He went 5 innings, giving up 5 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, and no walks. Paulo Espino took the loss. This man just has no luck as a starter. He's 0-7 went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts, and no walks. And Ryan Helsley earned the 14th save of the season, going 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, no runs with a strikeout and a walk. Eldiamo Vargas had an RBI single in the top of the second to account for the long run for the Nationals. And the second game, third game, I'm sorry, they had the ugly blown opportunity where they were up 5-1 going into the bottom of the ninth, and Kyle Finnegan found a way to give up 5 runs for the Nets to lose 6-5. I watched this game. Nats played very well. Everything was going well, looked good. The Nats want to get the win, and unfortunately, Kyle Finnegan couldn't get anyone out and gave up 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Jake Woodard earned the victory. That put him at 5-0. He went 1 inning, giving up 2 hits, no runs, no strikeouts or walks. And as I say, Kyle Finnegan took the loss. That put him at 5-3. He went 2/3 of an inning, giving up 4 hits, 5 runs, 1 strikeout, and 2 walks. The top of the 7th, Cesar Hernandez had an RBI triple. 8th inning, Nats put up 4 runs to give him the 5-1 lead. But unfortunately, as I said, Finnegan found a way to give up 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. Menezes had an RBI single. Luke Voigt had a 2-run home run, and Luis Garcia had an RBI single. Let's see. In the last game of the series, which was a good bounce back for the Nationals, they were able to salvage the split and went 2-2. They won the game 11-6. Mason Thompson earned the victory. That put him at 1-2. He went 1 2/3, giving up no hits, runs, strikeouts, or walks. Andre Palante took the loss. That drops him to 6-5. He went 1/3 of an inning, giving up 2 hits, 1 run, no strikeouts or walks. The top of the 9th, the Nats actually put up 4 runs. They were up 7-6, and after seeing, what happened the night before, they got some much needed insurance to make sure they earned the split and earned the victory. Top of the 7th, Cesar Hernandez had a sacrifice fly. CJ Abrams had an RBI double. And then at the top of the 9th, as I mentioned, Cesar Hernandez had a RBI single, and Alex Call had a 3-run home run. Alex Call went 4 for 5 in that game. If you checked out the video I did that I put up, he had 5 RBIs, went 4 for 5, and had the 3-run home run. And the top of the 9th to extend the lead. So the Nats earned that victory 11-6, which, as I said, split the series and on their way to Philly, hopefully with some momentum to at least earn 1 victory. And unfortunately, they didn't. They got swept by the Phillies. Bryce Harper had just came back. He made his staple on the second game. First game was a 5-3 loss. This was a game that was winnable by the Nats. They were down 3-0, but fought back in and tied the game, but unfortunately weren't able to get that go-ahead run, and the Phillies were able to get that go-ahead run. Noah Syndergaard earned his 9th victory of the year. That put him at 9-9. He went 6 innings, giving up 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 strikeouts, and no walks. Patrick Corbin took the loss. It drops him to 6-18. He went 6 2/3, giving up 12 hits, 5 runs with 2 strikeouts and no walks. And Nick Nelson earned the save. His first save of the season, going 1/3 of an inning, giving up no hits, no runs, no strikeouts or walks. Top of the 5th, Lane Thomas had an RBI triple, followed by Luis Garcia's RBI single. And the top of the 7th, Alex Call had a solo home run, which brought the Nationals to a tie, but unfortunately, the bullpen couldn't hold up and they gave up runs in the 8th. Second game of the series was an 8-5 loss. Ranger Suarez earned the victory for Philly. That puts him at 9-5. He went 6 2/3, giving up 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 strikeouts, and a walk. Eric Fetty took the loss. That drops him to 6-10. He went 3 2/3, giving 5 hits, 4 runs with 1 strikeout and 4 walks. Nats had a 2-0 lead, but as you heard, Fetty in the 3rd inning just lost his release point and couldn't get anything over. walked a couple of folks and gave up a home run and paid for it. And then next thing you know, he was out. And yeah, the Nats weren't able to overcome some of the runs that he gave up that inherited by the bullpen that they gave up also. Top of the third, Joey Meneses had a 2-run home run. That was the lead that they had. Then the next inning, Bryce Harper hit a 2-run home run to tie it up. Then the Phillies added 2 more runs in, and after that, then the Nats got back in the top of the seventh when Vargas had an RBI double. Lane Thomas had an RBI single, which got them back into the game, but they were still down. They were down 8-4 going into the ninth, and Lane Thomas had an RBI single to make it 8-5, but unfortunately that was as close as they could get, and game over, 8-5 loss. And the last game of the series, the Nats were trying to salvage their last trip on to Philly this season, and unfortunately it was a 7-5 loss with a 3-hour rain delay, which made it even worse. And they actually had the lead in this game, but unfortunately gave up the lead again late, and Philly was able to capitalize. 7-5 was the final score. Jose Alvarado earned the victory. That put him at 4-2. He went one inning, giving up no hits, no runs, with a strikeout and no walks. Kyle Finnegan took the loss. That drops him to 5-4. He went one inning, giving up 2 hits, 2 runs, with 1 strikeout and no walks. David Robinson earned his 19th save of the season. He went one inning, giving up no hits, no runs, with 3 strikeouts and no walks. Top of the third, Voit had an RBI single. Top of the fourth, Christian Hernandez had an RBI single. Vargas had an RBI single to follow that up, and Meneses had an RBI single to follow that up. In the top of the sixth, Meneses had a sacrifice fly. But as I said, unfortunately, and the relievers couldn't hold the lead. It ended up giving up the loss in the bottom of the sixth. They had tied the score, and unfortunately, they gave a leader right in the bottom of the sixth and weren't able to come back. And that wraps up the week that was, a 2-4 week. Upcoming, have a 2-game series against the wild card chasing Baltimore Orioles. That everyone is shocked that they're doing as well, because they were picked to finish last in the whole MLB, and they're fighting for a playoff spot. I still believe, I haven't checked on them lately, but I think they're still fighting for a wild card spot. Have Tuesday and Wednesday. Both of those are 7:05 starts. And then they have the Marlins coming to town for a weekend series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is a 7 o'clock start. Saturday is a 4 o'clock start, and Sunday is a 1 o'clock start. So season's wrapping up. As I said, it could be over October 5th. We can chalk this season up finally, because it hasn't been nothing too pretty to look at. Approaching 100 losses is never a good thing. But last time we hit 100 losses, got some draft picks and went on a nice little run to culminate with the World Series championship. So hopefully it won't get that bad. But like I said, there's some pieces that's playing well. CJ Abrams, I said, earned the play of the week with the play he made. You want to check out the video, go check out my YouTube channel. I put a nice little highlight video against Philly this weekend. He has some stellar plays in the field. I think they've since we traded Trey, we finally do have another shortstop. Ever since he's took over that position, they haven't had as many errors. Garcia, that's still a question mark. But for the most part, ever since he's been inserted into the shortstop position, the infield has played a lot better. They've been killing Luke Voit at first base with some of these throws. Josh Bell was pretty decent at first base. He's a little bit taller, so he can make some of those catches to save when they make mistakes. But unfortunately, Luke Voit isn't the same height, and some of those throws have been getting away from him. So, but for the most part, like I said, it could be worse. We got some prospects. We're gonna see probably some of them get called up, and we see what goes on from there. But like I said, they start the 2-game series with those starting tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We'll see how that goes, and only a few more episodes we're coming to that talk, and go from there. I see RobbieG's back, and I'm about to go ahead and get out of here. Quick scoring update on the Seattle-Denver game. Seattle's up 17-13 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and I believe Denver just turned the ball over on the goal line, and Seattle recovered in the end zone for a touchback. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, this game is pretty crazy for sure.
It wasn't my running. Oh, that was my running back too. Damn it, he didn't lost 2 points for this.
Sounds good. Well, Carol, I appreciate doing this with you. I'm gonna end our I'll let you do your initial sign off, and I'll end the Facebook feed for those users. Thank you everyone for tuning in on Facebook. Carol, do your final sign off, and then you, I guess, drop off of Zoom, and you can do your post game videos if you'd like to do that.
Right. Matter of fact, let me get that right. Since you were talking about that, I forgot to do that while I was talking. But as always, we appreciate you guys checking us out, tuning in Monday night, doing Monday Night Football and recapping the Commanders and checking out, talking about these Nats once again. Make sure you go subscribe and follow my YouTube channel, Carol Porter III with 3 eyes. Sure you check out the website, SportsOTHP.com. Like I said, be on the lookout for our morning show, which will be starting soon. Don't have an exact date right now. Got some things up in the air, but working on getting the co-host. Looking for a nice someone, a young lady. Definitely would like to have bring in more female viewers and listeners. I know a lot of young ladies that love talking sports, but just don't like talking on the radio. So if you know anyone interested, definitely hit us up because we're looking to expand and bring more Sports of the Hill podcast to your platform with the best DC sports coverage and sports coverage period around. DC sports without the politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do. CP3 live from the lab. About to get out of here. Robbie, have a good rest of the show. And y'all be easy. I'm out.
All right, and Facebook is out as well. But thank you, Carol, for joining us. I appreciate it. And I'm welcoming in our new co-host, Eddie Brown. Thank you for